All right, let's get right into our powerhouse panel on this Monday morning. We've got political analyst Mark Halperin here, commentary editor for the Washington Times, Kelly Sadler, is with us. Project 21 National Advisory Board member Christopher Arps is joining us from St. Louis, Missouri. And my guest host this week, Mercedes Schlapp, with us in Washington. Good morning to all. Dr. Fauci, who we all still watch and we listen to what he says with bated breath. I have no idea why, Mark, but we do. I was watching for what he was going to say yesterday because I thought the mask mandate was coming back for fully vaccinated Americans. I thought we were going to get that yesterday, but he didn't go all the way, but he says that it could happen. Take a listen.
You know, Jake, this is under active consideration. If you're asking, am I part of the discussion? Yes, I am part of the discussion. But I think what you are seeing, even though as of our conversation at this moment, the CDC still says and recommends that if you are vaccinated fully, that you do not need to wear a mask indoors.
Mark, it sounds like he wants people to be wearing masks again, the fully vaccinated. 50% of America is not vaccinated, right around that number. But it's deceiving because just over 30% have had coronavirus that we know about. So that unvaccinated number it's a little bit deceiving. But does it seem like to you that the mask mandates will return, especially as we get closer to fall?
Well, as we talked about, they've returned in some places already. Schools are going to be a big question. But vaccines are a much better answer. And I think the time has come, whether Dr. Fauci stays in the government or not. I'm normally against czars, but I think we need a vaccine czar. I think we need somebody with credibility across the board who takes a daily approach to trying to figure this out with a lot of public relations, not demanding people get vaccinated, not putting on mandates, but trying to walk people through the science in a way that will get more of these folks vaccinated.
That's a good. So, Chris, I know you're in St. Louis. St. Louis County, I believe today begins a mask mandate. What's going on out there in the Midwest?
Yeah, St. Louis City and St. Louis County, they have separate jurisdictions. They are reinstituting a mask mandate that starts today. Both of the county executive and St. Louis mayor are going to have a press conference explaining why they are reinstituting those mask mandates. We just heard that the science says that if you are vaccinated, you don't need a mask mandate. We're starting to see revolts already here in St. Louis. 3 municipalities have said they will not enforce the mask mandate. COVID crisis. COVID is rising here in Missouri, in southwest Missouri. Our governor has instituted a lottery to try to induce people to get vaccinations. I don't think that's going to work.
And it seems like the people there, just from what I saw, some of the coverage over the weekend, a lot of the people, you mentioned this, they're not happy about it. Is that accurate?
Oh, they are not happy at all. We were just beginning to reopen St. Louis County. Businesses were starting to thrive,
right.
And now they want to start it back down again.
Mercedes, I want to play a soundbite from the Commerce Secretary. She was talking about people going back to the office, and she's talking about not just, forget about Washington and New York. Let's talk about the rest of the country, the other cities that are all over this country, great cities that are really quiet this summer because people are, they're on vacation, they're doing what they do in the summer, but also because people aren't back in the high-rise office buildings yet. And she wants people to come back. Take a listen.
A lot of businesses are planning on full back in office post-Labor Day. Yeah. They're saying, you want to feel safe. You should feel safe. You should feel comfortable. We want you back in the office collaborating. So that means get vaccinated.
Okay, so that's Gina Raimondo speaking there. Mercedes, this was fascinating. The president and CEOs of J.P. Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, and Bank of America are not going to be bringing office workers back, at least to their major hubs, New York City, Charlotte, Boston, Los Angeles, until well after Labor Day. And they're not doing it because, the Delta variant is the big reason, but it's also the CEO of J.P. Morgan said because of the botched the propensity for elected officials to botch the public response to the virus. They're sick of these leaders, to Chris's point, in St. Louis, doing something that the people don't actually support.
Right. Well, here's the deal, Rob. They got to take the politics out of this whole pandemic. That's been, I think, the biggest issue because there's such mistrust with the government, with Fauci's words, with the Biden administration. And yes, you can bring in all these liberal celebrities. That's not going to make a difference. We have to make a decision as a nation. Are we going to take control of this virus, or is the virus going to control us? And I think what you're starting to see, especially with these employers, is look, they're gonna continue offering incentives for people to take the vaccine. Many of these companies are moving towards requiring vaccines in their companies, and Americans don't like to be told what to do.
Yeah.
So there has to be a different approach in talking to Americans that are hesitant about the vaccine. I think that the FDA approval of the vaccine is critical in this point in time, because that will make people feel a little more comfortable that there's more studies behind the safety and effectiveness of the vaccine.
We should say there was a serious uptick in people getting their first and second shots over the last 3 days. The CDC putting those numbers out this weekend. Kelly, should Dr. Fauci, and he remains the point person, despite what Mark thinks, Dr. Fauci is still the point person. Should he be making an effort to come on conservative media? Should he be available to you at the Washington Times so you can write an article? By the way, it is not just conservatives or Republicans that are vaccine hesitant. People from both sides of the aisle in all walks of life are vaccine hesitant. But let's say the good doctor wants to reach those people. Should he be coming on Newsmax? Should he be talking to the Washington Times?
Absolutely, but he's not.
Right.
And I think we all know the reason why. There's still a lot of questions of whether he supported gain-of-function research in the Wuhan lab and whether this was man-made and what was the U.S.'s role in it. I mean, him and Rand Paul had a fiery exchange last week where he was anything but completely honest and open about the U.S. funding to that lab and what research was exactly going on. So he's hesitant with those questions, but I agree that this can't be politicized anymore. Dr. Fauci, no matter what he does from this day forward, people have strong feelings about him. He should not be on any of the shows anymore. He should not be the public face of this. People are vaccine hesitant. They don't respond well to politicians or to Dr. Fauci. We've seen that. George W. Bush did a PSA. Barack Obama did a PSA. It didn't drive these numbers up. This is something that we as Americans are going to have to live with. COVID-19 is not going away. There's going to be new variants. It's going to be like the flu in every season. We've got to go to our doctors. We've got to trust our doctor advice, and we've got to make these decisions, these vaccination decisions for ourselves at a local level. I just don't think this top-down, we're going to mandate, you've got to listen to what we say, and if you don't listen to what we say, you're an ignorant fool. This is not working.
I should mention, by the way, about 20 minutes from now on the show, hold that thought one sec, Chris, we're going to have Dr. Robert Malone on the show. He invented the mRNA vaccines, the technology behind the mRNA vaccines. A very fascinating guy. If you've been vaccinated, I think this interview is going to be interesting. And if you are vaccine hesitant, I think this is for you. But this is the person that literally invented the technology behind what is in the Moderna, J&J, and Pfizer vaccines. So I'm excited about that coming up in just about 20 minutes. Chris, what do you got?
Yeah, Rob, I just wanted to throw in that the St. Louis County executive is a medical doctor. He's an anesthesiologist, and he's not following the science, and he's reinstituting these mask mandates. I think that's really ironic.
Yeah, and I think to Kelly's point, I think that a lot of the hesitation is because of the misinformation that we've gotten over the last 17 months. We're always, they'll say something and then they'll pull that back, and it might happen with masks. And the next thing, and we heard about it this weekend, is the possibility of vaccine mandates. Mark, the reason they're not mandated in, say, the military right now is the EAU, that emergency use authorization by the FDA. Once that's lifted, if that's lifted with these vaccines, do you see this happening? I mean, JP Morgan requires their employees to have it, and anybody visiting their office building in Midtown Manhattan. Do you see this happening everywhere?
It's going to happen more places, including schools and major employers, until we can solve this vaccine problem. And look, there's no right in America to work at a nursing home. You don't want to get the vaccine, up to you. But I think we're going to need some big employers to do what Ronald Reagan did with the air traffic controllers. Going to have to start firing people who won't get the vaccine again. If they don't have a right to those jobs. If the employer makes a decision, it's a condition of employment. Just as students have to get the flu shot and measles shots and other shots, there's nothing unorthodox or unprecedented about that. We don't want masks. We don't want businesses shut down. Let's get this done.
Mercedes, respond to Mark, please.
Mark, I hate to say it, but flu vaccine is not it's not mandated in the schools. So that we got to be real.
And it's not the same thing.
The vaccine mandates, it's very anti. No, it's not. I have kids in school. The flu vaccine is not mandated. It's not mandated in our school.
It's not mandated in ours. I've got 3 young boys. I'm worried. They're all under the age of 12. I'm worried that when this vaccination gets approved, perhaps in December or January, it's going to be mandated. When the science shows us that the flu is actually more deadly to children than the coronavirus.
Kids are not vectors.
The flu's not shutting down our economy, though.
Yeah, but
The
part
mass
of the problem
hysteria
is that there's this
Go ahead,
huge
Mercedes.
exactly the hysteria, the panic, the paranoia. This is you got to balance the economics and the health experts. This is something that I think the administrations have really struggled with doing, whether it be the Trump administration and the Biden administration.
I agree. I want to keep the economy open, and I want employers to have the choice, as the private sector should, to say, here's how we're going to do our business. And my urging is if you're a private sector employee, particularly a nursing home or a hospital, make your employees get vaccinated or fire them.
Mark, I'll tell you what, I haven't checked Twitter, but you are not going to be popular on the Newsmax Twitter sphere in the next
I just
couple
want the
minutes.
economy open. It's pretty simple. I don't want the government to have control.
Look, I'm gonna let you continue that, Mark. We'll pick this right back up after the break. That you just touched on something right at the end of the panel that I think a lot of people are really passionate about. I don't want anybody to lose their job. I don't think anybody should be just outright fired.
I agree with Rob.
That's not America.
Agree. I agree.
But you want the government. But you want the economy to shut down. You want people in nursing homes to be unsafe. If that's your view.
I think that people in nursing homes, the patients themselves, the people that live there. My grandmother spent 20 years in an assisted living center, and she's not with us anymore. But she would have been happy to get vaccinated. And if she's vaccinated, she wouldn't care about the other people there because when you're vaccinated, you're healthy, according to Dr. Fauci.
And we already have a shortage of workers. I think if you mandate people getting shot, you're going to have an even more shortage of
not
workers.
a government, not action for government, not a government.
The
mandate.
elites love this idea of vaccine mandates. They just love it. They love the control of the American people. There will be a revolt from the American people being forced to get vaccinated.
Look what's happening in Europe right now. People are literally storming the Bastille right now in Europe. They are not happy with mandates.
It just does not work.
Panel, we'll pick it right back up on the other side, I promise.